Hi guys, good morning. So I'm Puneet Sahalot. I'm a WordPress developer, theme developer specifically, and a coach. I like training people on WordPress, telling them how to use WordPress and how they can build their websites with WordPress. So there are a lot of common questions I get during each session, and I thought it will be good to compile all those questions into one single session for WordCamp here in Mumbai. So I'll be talking about a lot of common errors which we come across while using WordPress websites, and we think I'm not a developer and I can't fix it. You see a common PHP error and you think I will need to get some help from a developer because only he can understand PHP and fix it up. That's not the case always. In some common errors, you can fix it on your own. It needs a little bit of patience, Google it, and then just try to understand what the error is about. So let's start. Okay, that's my Twitter handle if you want to follow me on Twitter, P Sahalot. And I also run a WordPress maintenance and support service, which is under the brand name WP Troubleshooter. So Troubleshooting WordPress for beginners. So why you need to know troubleshooting WordPress? Why you need to know the basics of WordPress and fixing common errors? See, I can relate it with a live example of our life. We have a scooter or a bike. We ride a scooter or a bike, and we know what can go wrong with the scooter while we are riding it. Like if you remember this Bajaj Chetak, has anyone ever tried this one? Had a ride on this one? Okay. So there was a common problem with this one. If you park it for a long time and it won't start, so you would lean it down on one side and then start kicking it up and it will start. So another thing was sometimes there was an overflow of fuel. What you will do, someone will push it from backwards and then you will just change the gear and leave the clutch and it will start. So these are some tricks, jugards we can say which we are using for fixing our scooter. So if you are driving a scooter, you should know how you can fix it. If you don't know, you won't start a scooter even in that small case of overflow of fuel. Then next thing we come across is like styling our site. Most of the times we are using a a theme from WordPress.org or any other theme, and what we want to do is just change the look and feel, just change some colors, change some fonts, add a background image or whatever. But because we don't know CSS, we are not able to do it. CSS is not that complicated. I won't say it's very easy, but it's easy. And if you understand the basics, you can do a little more styling for your website. So let's start with what kind of common errors we see on WordPress. Has anyone come across this one? I can't see text editing options in my post editor. My visual editor is not working. All you see is the text editor where you can only see HTML code and visual editor is not loading. Okay, so there are quite a few. Then this one, has anyone, I think most of you have come across this one, briefly unavailable for maintenance. Anyone knows how to fix it? If they fixed it, great. Then I activated a plugin and it broke my site. So you start blaming that plugin developer, what kind of plugin he has built and why he has been responsible. He's the one responsible for breaking my site. It's not working now, what to do? This one is very interesting. My site is hacked, it's displaying a message from the hacker and playing some nice music. So what was the issue in your case? Means why it was hacked? Okay, there is someone from Pakistan and then there are some from Bangladesh and
somebody inspired by Skyfall.
So, and these are few more. 500 internal error, white screen of death. The most common WordPress error, white screen of death. Headers already sent. While activating a plugin, you must have come across this one. And then unexpected end of XYZ at line this in functions.php or some .php file. So these are very common errors in WordPress. And can anyone tell me if they have come across something new which I might have not covered here?
So there are some warnings which come on the top.
Yeah, warnings. Yeah.
And those warnings say something.
Warnings are specific to themes and plugins, but in most of the cases, warnings won't do any harm to your website.
But they remain over there.
Yeah, they remain over there in the admin section, not on the front end generally.
It does appear on front section.
Then it could be a problem with the theme or plugin. We need to change it. And anything else?
Sometimes the image drag and drop thing doesn't work.
that doesn't work. Image drag and drop generally doesn't work if there is a JavaScript jQuery conflict with some other plugin. So maybe we can try troubleshooting it with the help of plugin, deactivating a plugin, or we can try using WP concatenate JS scripts.
Okay. In my, sorry, last one. In my Chrome browser, when I look at the console, there would be always some error or the other with red, this thing. And those errors are like, okay, it doesn't harm the website, but they remain over there. So those are errors. How do I fix it?
So just see, I will tell you one evergreen trick of fixing or just checking how you can fix these errors. Yes, please.
Yeah, I've come across one issue. I've come across one issue. Like there's a pagination in the home page. The pagination does not work on the home page, whereas the pagination in all the other posts, tags, and categories work. When I click on the other link, it just redirects to my home page. On googling it, I found there is a canonical redirect issue. So why does it happen? Like, is it problem with the theme or what?
First check if you are using a custom block template. Like when you are creating a page, there is an option for page template and you select block there, right?
It's a home page. It's a default template with the home page where the slider comes in the post section, the
Okay,
block section.
so the home page is loading, you are not setting it as a page template for
No,
block.
no, nothing.
So it must be an issue with the theme itself.
Theme itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get started. That's enough of bragging. Tell me how to fix it, Spartan. Yeah, so first thing, keep calm and Google it. Most of the errors you will find answer solutions on Google. There are popular websites like WP Beginner, WP Cube, and a lot of errors can be fixed from WP Dev as well. Then the most common errors are listed on WordPress codex. So errors like white screen of death, can't establish a database connection, briefly unavailable for maintenance. These are the errors which you can find on this particular URL, codex.wordpress.org/common_WordPress_errors. You can also see a solution for them. There is an issue with PHP memory limit, which ends up giving you a 500 internal server error. That is also described here. The evergreen lifesaver trick, I call it the evergreen lifesaver trick because most of the time there is a plugin which is conflicting with other plugin or causing some error. So what I will do is, I will just FTP to my site, I will go to WP content folders, rename the plugins directory to something like plugin X or plugins Y or 123 and just log in back to my dashboard. This will allow me to log into my dashboard and see the default, all the plugins will be deactivated by now. And now you can see if your site is working or not. If your site is working, it means there was an issue because of a plugin. If it's not working, just go back to your FTP folder and change the active themes folder name. Let's say if you are using 2012, 2012 is not working on your website. So what you will do is just go to WP content/themes/2012 and rename it to something else. So in that case, WordPress will allow you to log into the dashboard, but what will happen is the front end will not load because of the theme. So you just need to switch it to a different theme. Maybe you can switch to 2014. Just in these cases, just make sure that you are using a default theme and not activating any plugins. This will help you troubleshoot basic errors which are caused by plugins or themes. And then just after you have been able to log into your website and the site is loading fine, what you can do is just go back to FTP, change everything back to default. Now activate plugins one by one. So whenever you activate plugins one by one, keep checking what is going wrong and when. This way you will find the plugin which is causing errors. Last thing, if nothing works, reinstall WordPress. Download fresh copy of WordPress from wordpress.org. Just FTP it back to your website. You don't need to worry about losing your content because all your data is stored in database, the WordPress database, which you are not editing anyways. And all the images which are uploaded in uploads folder will remain there as it is. It will not delete any files or folders. Yeah, if you are able to log into your dashboard, simply click reinstall WordPress button and it will reinstall there itself. You don't need to worry about backup. You don't need to worry about backup in most of the cases because you will be editing only files, theme files or plugin files. You are not editing database directly. No, all the settings are stored in wp-config.php. By default, the WordPress fresh installation doesn't come with a wp-config.php file. It comes with wp-config-sample.php file. So your database connection remains same, your login details remain same, everything remains same because all your content is in database. Other files which you have uploaded to WordPress directory, WordPress media uploader, are stored in uploads folder.
Okay.
So when you are doing a fresh install, everything will be pushed to your server and it will overwrite existing files.
Okay.
So there is no file in the fresh uploads folder.
Okay.
So it won't be deleted.
We need to provide database details to the new WordPress.
No, you don't
system.
need to because there is already wp-config.php file on your server.
I'm not getting it because I'm not a coder.
No problem. See, what you will do is, you have your website, right?
Yeah.
It's working and it is suddenly stopped working.
Yeah.
Now what you do is download WordPress. Go to wordpress.org, download fresh copy of WordPress, unzip it on your system. So you get a folder, WordPress folder. Then there are files inside it and directories inside it. WP content, admin, includes, and then some PHP files.
Yep.
So just FTP to your site and upload these files in the root directory. That's it.
Okay.
Because WordPress doesn't come with a wp-config.php file, your existing config.php file remain as it is.
Talk with the
As it
database
is.
and all. Okay. Thank you.
So now understanding and fixing PHP errors. This is a common error which we see. Has anyone experienced out of memory error? This happens when a plugin or theme is using a lot of resources, PHP resources, but your server isn't allowed to use that much of PHP memory. So there are two ways of fixing it. Either you can use wp-config.php file. It allows you to increase the memory limit by defining a WP memory limit to 128 M or 64 M, whatever you want to do. By default, I think it's, by default it's 64 M. You can increase it to 96 or 128. If you don't want to do it that way, what you can do is just go to your C panel and look for php.ini file. And there you can define memory equal to 128 MB. So that will increase your memory limit for PHP and it will cover up this kind of errors. Even in case of 500 internal errors, you will be able to fix those errors with PHP memory limit. And in some cases of 500 internal error, these are caused by corrupt .htaccess file. How many of you know about .htaccess file? Okay, and how many of you don't know about .htaccess file? So .htaccess files allow which directories can be accessed directly via browser, directory listing, if bots can access your website or not, what pages they are going to crawl, and your permalink settings are maintained by .htaccess. So this can be, there can be an error, 500 internal error because of a corrupt .htaccess file. So what you can do is just rename it to .htaccess underscore something else. In that case, your system, your hosting provider will reload a default .htaccess file and then you will be able to log into your website. Now, after doing this, you will see a 404 error if you are using pretty permalinks. Because the htaccess file has been reset to default. It doesn't have the permalink settings in place. So what you need to do is just go back to your WordPress settings, permalinks, and click Save Options button. That will restore everything to the default settings of permalinks, and you will be able to see all your posts and pages like it was earlier. Then there are some common errors like unexpected end of line this on function.php file, and then there's something missing. So what you can do in that case is just look at the error, just read what it says. It will be first thing unexpected end of or something like it displays what's going wrong. Just look at that. Then it will say on in functions.php or whatever .php file, and then it will define the line number. So just go to that file, look if you are finding something like an unclosed function tag or an extra opening tag for a function. Just remove that or add something. You will be able to do it with a basic understanding of code, how it works. Whenever you start writing a function, I think if you are a CS student, you must have done it in C++ or C every time. So you start a function, you open a curly bracket and then you close it back. In that case, if a curly bracket is missing, you will have to add it. So it will fix the error. In some cases, there will be an extra curly bracket because you have mistyped it or something has gone wrong. You can remove it. These are common errors. Just look at the error message, look at the file and the line number. Copy the code into a text editor. You will get the line number there. You can use a text editor like Notepad++. Or if you are on Mac, you can use Text Wrangler. So you will get line numbers. Just go to that line and check what's gone wrong here, what's extra or what's missing, and you can fix it up. Then let's talk about CSS. How many of you are already used to CSS? How many of you can customize a theme, and how many of you would like to know how CSS works? Okay, so we will go for a live demo. We will customize default WordPress theme and see how CSS works. So this is my default WordPress installation here. I have switched to 2012 default theme. Now I will request you to tell something what you would like to customize here. Anything that you would like to change or you usually want to change in your theme. Okay, we will start one by one.
Menu.
Navigation bar, background color.
Yeah, background color.
Okay. So what you can do is, if you are using Chrome or Firefox, you always have Firebug in Firefox, and in Chrome you have Chrome Developer Tools. Just go to your navigation, right click on it, and there's this option which says Inspect Element. Now, when I have clicked on Inspect Element, it opens up a new console here, which says, which displays code on one side and displays CSS on the other side. And the element which is currently selected is displayed in a blue box. Now, if I go over to div class nav menu, it's the parent element. It says, here it displays the name of element which I have selected, div.nav menu. Now, when I move it one step downwards, it says UL. So I have selected UL, and now because I want to change the background color of this navigation, what I will do is, I will look for div.nav menu in my CSS file. On checking the right side of this section, I see there is no CSS for div.nav menu, which means there is no styling written for this particular element, and hence the background color should not be applied to this one. Let's check if there is another element which has been targeted for applying the background color. I have selected UL. I think it might not be visible to you guys at back. Who all can see this lower section on this? Is it readable? I will zoom it a little bit. So there is this styling for ul.nav menu which says border bottom 1px solid and some color code, and border top 1px solid color code. The CSS properties are very written in very simple English. You can understand from the property itself, name itself, border bottom, which means there is a border which is applied to be applied to the bottom of a container. Similarly, there is this property background. So it is subdivided into background color, background image. Now, if we generally use background, which means the background color of an element will change. If you are applying to the body tag, it will change the background color of all your website. Now, let's see, there is no background color here as well. So on inspection, I have found that there is no background color applied for li, there is no background color applied for the a href tag which is inside li, and there is no background color for nav menu or ul. What we can do is, we will just go back to div class nav menu. So I applied a CSS property to div class nav menu, and the property is background. After that, there is a color code which is written in hex code, #333, which is for dark gray, background yellow. You can write common common colors like yellow, red, green, blue directly here, and it will automatically pick up the default colors. So when we have applied background to nav menu, it is displayed here, but it's not in your CSS file yet. What you need to do is now go back to your WordPress dashboard. Under appearance, you will find an option which says editor, and by default, editor will load style.css file. A style.css file is the file which controls the styling of your theme. In a lot of themes, you have a custom CSS section in theme options. Then there are some themes which have a custom.css file which allows you to write custom CSS. So in this case, we don't have a custom.css file. Right now, I'm going with the default style.css, or you can install a plugin which allows you to embed your custom CSS without changing theme files. Because what will happen if I am doing some changes here, and there is an update for this particular theme in future, and I click the update button, all your changes will be gone. So the best practice is to go for a custom CSS section, either create a child theme or use a custom CSS plugin. I think Jetpack allows you to add custom CSS. It gives you an option for custom CSS. So even you can use Jetpack, or there is a simple custom CSS plugin which you can use. Instead, I don't recommend using style.css and making changes to style.css, because whenever there is an update, all your changes will be gone. So just now, right now, I'm displaying it just for demonstration. Now, what are the parts of this CSS line of code? First one says .name menu. .name menu means the class the CSS class which we are targeting. Any element, any HTML element which is having this CSS class defined, div class or ul class equal to name menu or div class equal to name menu, will be targeted with the help of this element selector. Then we have a curly bracket which opens and closes. These curly brackets will include your CSS properties. First property which we are applying right now is background, which defines that the background color needs to be changed, and then the value of property. So background color needs to be changed to yellow. This is how CSS works in a lot of sections. Now there is this another example which is using hash instead of number sign instead of a period for starting. This is used for targeting an element with an ID. What's the difference between an ID and a class is, a class can be reused. It can be reapplied to a number of elements on the same page. While in case of an ID, a particular element on a page will have only one ID, another element on that page will not have the same ID. It's like your identity. You can have, it's your name and date of birth. There will be only one person, you are the one who has the name and date of birth, fine. Then there is a class, your last name. Last name is a class. There are a lot of people, your family members are part of that class. They reuse the last name. So that's how things work with CSS as well. A class can be redefined and reused on various elements. I'm just defining here .name menu as background yellow. Let's say if there was a class text alert, .text alert background color red. So if I'm going to apply this class to a paragraph tag or a name menu or anything else or a div, it will always change the background color to red for that particular element. Similarly, every CSS property is very obvious to understand. Let's take this example of font size. You want to change the font size on some part of your website, right? So you simply use a CSS property font-size and then define a value for that thing, 13px, which means 13 pixels. Then there is another convention for rem, font size, which is relative, and it is relative to the body font size which you have defined. If you have defined a body font size of 16 pixel and you want to use the same font size for #WP calendar, you will simply write font size colon 1 rem. 1 rem means it is related to the root element, that is body, and it will automatically change it to 16 pixels. Then there is another property called color. Color is for targeting the text color, the color of text on your website. If you are changing background color of name menu, we also want to change the color of text which appears there. Let's change it to dark gray. Now I have changed my background color for navigation to dark gray, and the text is not readable. In this case, we want the text to be white. So we will again look for the element which is changing the text color here. Click on any link and right click on inspect element. The first one says main navigation li a hover, means on hover the color of this particular link should be black, #000. This is the on hover action. When you move your cursor over to a link, it changes color on a lot of themes. So this is the color which is defined on hover action. We are looking for the color which is by default. Here it is. Main navigation li a color #6a 6a 6a, another shade of gray. Now because I have my mouse pointing towards about the test links, this is having a strike through, and the other color option, color #00 is active. So I want to change the color of links for all my navigation items. Simply click on this one if you can't just remember it. Click on this, copy it, and change color to #FFF, which is hex code for white, or you can simply type color white. There it is. So these are basic things which you can do with some understanding of CSS. I'm not telling you that you can completely transform your layout with basic understanding. You need to be more skilled to change responsive CSS and the complete layout. But there are small changes that you always want to make. You can do it with basic understanding of CSS, and you can inspect the existing code, how it's working and how properties are defined. You can change those properties. So that's all. If you want to be a power user, use a good theme, install good plugins, and take control of your website with your CSS and troubleshooting techniques. How do you find a good theme and a good plugin? The best themes are found on WordPress.org if you are looking for free themes, and in premium themes. There are a lot of premium themes available on various websites, like Theme Forest. Then there are a lot of theme companies, Woo Themes, Studio Press, Thesis, or whatever you want to go for. But the question is, how do you find a good theme from Theme Forest? A theme which comes with a lot of features is not good for you always, because you are not going to use all those features. And if you are looking for a good premium theme, you can go for something specific like Woo Themes or Elegant Themes, because they are providing a theme which comes for a particular solution. If you are going to pick a theme for restaurant, you will find a good theme on Woo Themes or Elegant Themes, because they have built it specifically for restaurants only. There are a lot of themes on Theme Forest which will do a lot of things. You can build a restaurant website, you can build a hotel website, you can even build an institute's website with a single theme. But those are not good themes, because they are giving you a lot more than what you actually need. In case of free themes, WordPress.org has best themes, because they are first tested by a team of volunteers, then they are approved to be uploaded, to be available on WordPress.org directory. So whenever you are finding a free theme, just go to WordPress.org/themes and look for the theme that suits all your requirements. Any questions?
I want to ask a question. Hello.
Yeah, sure.
When WordPress at 3.6 version, when you update to 3.7, while updating by the dashboard, we get the warning that the file name with the number.php. Why do we get that warning? We have to create a backup before updating. So what's the reason behind that?
Every time a WordPress version upgrade is available, there are some changes to database structure. There are some changes to the default WordPress files. Not some, a lot of new features are coming with every new version. So by default, WordPress recommends you to create a backup of your database and files, just in case something goes wrong during the upgrade process, so that you don't lose your data. If you look at the error, the upgrade notice, every time the first thing is downloading the installation package, then installing the package, unzipping the package, whatever, then you see the last messages updating the database. So that's why they recommend you to create a backup. Every time you are making an upgrade, just create a backup of your database.
This used to happen version at 3.6, 3.5, but since 3.7, this error is not available.
So a lot of common errors which are by default coming or shipped with WordPress are fixed in every new version. So even if there is an error while upgrading it, if you Google for it, you will find a solution right away, because it has been already reported by a lot of users.
Is there any plugin to track PHP actions? Means which PHP is working for which section or something?
Not exactly I can say which action is working for which section, but I remember there is a plugin which allows you to check what all functions are working on a particular page. I don't recall the name. In the default WP admin bar, when you are logged in and you are on the front end of your website, the default WP admin bar displays over on the top right. So that function adds a menu to that bar, and it will display what all functions are called on that particular or used on that particular page. You just need to Google for it. I can't recall the name right now. In case a particular plugin has caused some error on your website, the best thing to do is, if you have downloaded it from WordPress.org, go to the support forums, support section of that plugin, and check if similar issue has been reported by any other user. If not, just report it there so that other users can be helped with that.
I don't know how general my question is, because looks like this hall is full of developers. I understand nothing of CSS, Puneet, and even to change a font and all that, looks so easy there. I can't go and open that window where you change things. So if I don't understand any bit of CSS, how do I help myself?
If you are using a premium theme, a lot of premium
No,
themes
no
allows
premium
you.
theme. It's a free theme.
Then you
Can't
need
work
to,
around it at all.
Then first thing is, don't be afraid of CSS. It won't break your website in any ways. Generally, it won't break until and unless you are changing something with the structure. If you are simply changing font size, colors, you will be able to do it very easily. All you need to do is follow some steps, inspect the element which you want to change, and then go back to your style sheet and write CSS there. And before you make any changes to your live website, what you can do is you can use this console debugger, Chrome dev tools like I have done.
Wait, hang on. It comes very natural to you. I don't even know how to open that window, that style sheet or whatever you're calling it.
Okay, so I will show it to you once again. You move your cursor over to the element whichever you want to change. Like in this case, I want to change something with WordCamp Mumbai. So I have placed my cursor over there, right click, and you will get this option which says inspect element. Once you click here, the console will open up. Now, by default, there is this blue section which says this is the current active element which is targeted and inspected by this console. So it appears in blue there, and there is a starting tag which says A. You can match that A tag with the A tag here. If both are same, that means you are inspecting the right element. And to the right, there is CSS for this particular element, which says dot site header h1a. Now you might think, what is site header? What is h1? Because you are only inspecting a element, a tag, right? Just above it, there is an h1 tag, which is there with the CSS h1 before a, and before h1, there is another tag which is header, which says class equal to site header. So dot site header is the class which we are targeting. Inside dot site header, there is an h1 tag, and inside h1 tag there is a tag. So this is the sequence which we are following in CSS. Go for dot site header class, look for h1 tag, and inside h1 look for another a tag. So a href tag, h1 and site header. This is the sequence. Now look for the CSS. CSS says color is #515151. Now you don't know how to pick the color, right? So what you can do is, there's this little square which is appearing right before this color, right? Click on it, and you have this color picker here, right? There's this little square which appears just below the hex color code. Click on it, and the color picker will open up. You can change, you can pick any color of your choice, and that's it. So now you have the code which changes color of your site title, right? It's still not active. It's only for the preview of your current website or your current page. What you need to do is, if you don't want to write CSS again, simply copy it from here. Because we are editing a theme, you need to go back to your dashboard. Either install a plugin, which I said, simple CSS plugin, which will allow you to add CSS to a particular page instead of doing this thing, like loading a style sheet file. It will give you another option under appearance, custom CSS. It will be a blank window, a blank page. So I have dot site header h1a, comma dot site header h2a. Then there is an opening bracket, color, the property which we are targeting, and the value. Sorry, it has changed to #ff00. Yeah, okay, that's fine. #ff00, which is the hex code for red color. Now you see, we have opened a curly bracket. We need to close it as well. In order to CSS to work correctly, you need to close it. Right now, it's at the end of your CSS file. So even if you leave it open by any chance, it will work fine. But in case you add more lines of CSS, it will cause an error. It won't display any error on your website or in backend, but it will not be working. So let's close it. Property ends. So first thing is property name, color, colon, and the value. Then you need to end the property with a semicolon. If you want to add another property, in next line you can add another property, then value, then semicolon. So all the properties will end with a semicolon, and that complete block will be in curly brackets. That's it. Because I am defining it at the end of my CSS file, it will usually override.
Okay, I promise I'll get Puneet back on stage in the networking session for everybody. But I know personally, Puneet will agree that it's impossible to do CSS in a session like this. It's impossible.
Definitely.
He can give you pointers, but the only possible solution to doing that, making such changes, is to pick up a little bit of CSS yourself. It's very easy. They're just properties, they're just names and values. So if you figure out what values go with what names, you don't even need to figure it out. They're all available. Like he said, Google it. Keep calm and Google it. So all those properties, if you need to know what can go for background, how do you change the font, those can be found. But the basics of CSS need to be picked up. Now, if you
want to learn it on your own, just go to codeacademy.com. There is no A of Code Academy. Simply Code Academy. Skip the A and sign up there with a free account and start with basics of HTML and CSS. It's very interactive and it's very easy to learn HTML and CSS from there. Once you learn the basics, W3 schools is not interactive. That's a problem. Okay, thank you everyone. Let's catch up for some more questions afterwards. Bye.